The Florida Keys has Phil pretty much surmised, of course, sort of target zero here. And keep in mind, they're only about a few feet above sea level, and we're talking storm surges in excess of 7 or 8 feet. Monroe County Emergency Operations Center Director Martin Centerfit issuing a mandatory evacuation for the Keys joins us now on the phone. Sir, very good to have you. How many are honoring that evacuation?
Well, Neil, we're getting real good turnout. The evacuation order did not go into effect till this morning at 7 o'clock, but yet last night, coming through the Keys, we already had a steady line of traffic going out. So that's really been positive. We've not seen any traffic jams or backups, but we're seeing a constant, steady flow, and so that gives us a lot of hope as people, obeying these evacuation orders. The community evacuation doesn't even go into effect till 7 o'clock tonight. But we're already seeing the population be drawn down, so good signs.
Oh, that is a good sign. I do remember, too, as well, back, 25 years ago, hard to believe, with Andrew, that a lot of people, I believe it was a voluntary evacuation in the beginning, and then only, about 48 hours before Andrew hit, everyone was on the roads. How do you prevent just traffic jams, that are beyond anyone's notion of traffic jams?
It really is about communication. The population of Florida is very familiar with that idea of getting stuck on the interstate. And so we started messaging early and just letting people know that if you're traffic adverse, leave early. And they've listened to that. And I think that's as long as everybody takes a reasonable, methodical approach to this, we can move everybody we need to move. But it's no different than a building. If everybody tries to rush to the exit at once, it's going to be chaos.
Director, how many people there, maybe because it's been quite a while since Florida was hit by a severe storm, a dozen years if you just go back maybe to Katrina, that they're getting kind of, impervious to this? Or is the constant pounding of this storm, the Category 5 nature, what happened with Harvey changing them?
Well, I think the people down here in the Keys are wise. When you live in the Florida Keys, you're the highest risk community for hurricanes.
Oh, sure.
And we love our tropical life, but with this being a Category 5, I think you'd see a totally different response if this would have been a Category 2. But with this being a Category 5 and with it tracking the way it is, I think people understand the realities. And here in the Keys, we live off the simple motto: you can hide from wind, but you must run from the water. And they realize that. The storm surge, when you're only 3 feet above sea level, is deadly. And a question that's asked is, well, why would we go into the mainland if they could possibly get hit? Well, a high and dry hotel on the mainland of Florida is always going to be better than a wet, soggy ground here in the Keys. And so that's what we do. We try to get away from the water. We get somewhere safe where we can avoid the wind.
Yeah, good advice, and thanks for all you're doing. Martin Centerfit, the Monroe County, Florida Emergency Management Director. That's a busy guy.
After days of hurricane footage depicting countless examples of human bravery and compassion, we probably need something really petty to balance it out, like Morning Joe.
My hands are too big.
Yeah, for like a 9-year-old.
He hands it in the front window of the guy driving.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
It's better when you see it.
But you have to just take it, because if the president's putting it in the wrong place, you know, here's your bag of cement, you know, and you're like, okay, well, you got a hole, like, back there.
The flatbed part, you mean?
You can put it in.
That's where you're supposed to put it.
It's where you, if you have, like, bags of cement.
You're carrying stuff in a
you
truck.
have a bucket.
That's why they call it a truck.
They really are America's sweethearts. If by sweethearts you mean hemorrhoids. Now, I see this as a positive. After seeing Donald Trump handle the catastrophe, they can't call him racist or Hitler or unstable. Mocking a photo op is all they got. When a response is this feeble, it says that the cartoon demonization of Trump is petering out. After seeing how Americans and the president reacted to Harvey, it's dawning on them that America ain't so bad and that it's getting better, perhaps even under Trump. Case in point. Not just Dianne Feinstein, but Nancy Pelosi have defended President Trump, suggesting we should give the guy a chance. Then there's the rise and immediate fall of Antifa. Has any violent mob had a shorter honeymoon than that pile of dung? They made Occupy Wall Street look like Gandhi. So as the hate blows over, Dems realize it's a losing proposition, so they're disowning it on the streets and in their own party. What caused this? Well, maybe Harvey had an effect beyond the obvious damage. It rewound toxic perspectives. What we saw was good stuff coming from bad morality in motion. The hurricane took the wind out of the whiners, leaving only a few chortling chuckle buckets, bolstered by forced laughter of co-hosts quietly wishing for a better gig. Hurricane Harvey has moved on, and so with it, so has America. Morning Joe hasn't. It's easy, Jesse, to make fun of a photo op. They're always clumsy and stupid. He was, I guess he was like holding cement to the guy instead of putting it in the back of the truck. Oh, my God. What low-hanging fruit for even them? I mean, that's low-hanging fruit even for those low-hanging fruit pickers.
I mean, technically, yeah, it's a gaffe. All right, fine. You know what gaffe he didn't make? He didn't accidentally call himself Muslim. He didn't go golfing after an American was beheaded, didn't bow to a Saudi king, didn't do the wave in Cuba after a terrorist attack, didn't fly to a fundraiser after Benghazi. So, you know what? I'm going to give this president a pass on that. I guess maybe, you shouldn't have handed it right through there. But I think in a photo op, people hand you things you really don't know what you're doing. Maybe he just wanted to say hi to the driver and not ignore him.
And he wanted to get the guy in the picture.
Yeah,
that's all it was.
It's a photo op. You know what? And to act like the president's never seen a pickup truck before, the guy's done all of his business around construction sites his whole life. He's a real estate developer. You never think he's seen hard hats or a flatbed of a truck. Mika, I don't know about Joe, but Mika grew up in Georgetown and Manhattan. To act like she's, down with, like, pickup trucks is crazy. I mean, I'm not really. The last time I drove a pickup truck, there's a lot of damage. But at the same time, she has really no legs to stand on.
Dana, we saw a lot of, it was an uplifting period. As much as tragedy there was, we saw the America that we knew was real as opposed to what the media portrayed. And it just seems to me that it must drive Morning Joe crazy.
Well, and also, like, instead of making fun of him, there's plenty of other news to cover.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we're hurting for subjects. In fact, there's so many that we would love to cover that we can't get to on a show. And I think that what they're doing also is they're ceding the ground on policy. So while they're making fun of things like this, they're basically not arguing for the issues that they care about. So I also thought about when your list was great.
Oh, I could go on.
Remember,
go on?
For photo ops at disaster areas, they're always difficult.
Yeah.
But what they fail to remember is that they're in their comfort of their where are they, in New York or Washington D.C. and there's a president that actually traveled there. He was with the people, and the people there loved it.
Yeah.
Republican or Democrat, I'm sure they were happy to see him.
What do you think, Juan? Was Morning Joe just being petty?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're making fun of him, and obviously this whole thing with his hands, I don't know, it seems to be in his head. I mean, I don't know where it came from, because in the midst of this, he had an opportunity, to try to make up for what happened on the first visit, and I think he did pretty well. I mean, the pictures, which is what you're after if you're the president, you want pictures that convey to the American people that you do have empathy in your heart, and that you can stand and travel to a place of disaster and act as the, I guess, comforter-in-chief, if you will. That's what he did.
And the president is learning how to be president. He's learning how to be a politician, and he's had some missteps. But it's interesting because the Democrats are constantly failing at politics, and instead of learning about contrasts, because you can actually defeat your opponent if you have a contrasting series of opinions.
Yes.
So if you constantly bash him, and then one time he does something right, you say, oh, he absolutely did something right. And then to Dana's point, if he fails on policy, you could say, oh, you really let us down.
Right.
Man, you did so good when you went to
like
Texas.
if he doesn't come through with if they don't come through with the money for Texas, then you can go back and replay that.
That's the time to do it.
Yeah.
But now they've
Right.
weakened their position, and they're the party that cries wolf.
But the
Exactly.
money is interesting because is that part of the budget or not? And we'll see what the president says. And we've got, don't forget, Hurricane Irma
Coming up
down on Florida.